Thank you, Martin, and thanks for having the opportunity to be here today. So my name is Inge Handagard from Norway, of course, like all the others from Norway. Yeah, makes sense. I'm working at Norconsult, which is a consultancy and design and engineering company within Norway. Just a brief overview. Sort of my background is actually from the general contractor side, so I've been there for the past 15 years and just started out as a consultant. Within Norconsult, we've approached VDC for quite some years already, and I think we have about 40 our employees certified within VDC, and about 300 people attended the internal program for VDC as well. So it's kind of hard to find the right examples because we have many projects, but what I'm going to focus a bit on today is sort of how we within design and utilize VDC, of course, but also approach kind of projects. So the project I'm talking about is a water treatment facility. It has a timeline. It's due kind of finished constructing in 2026. About 110 million US dollars. Quite a lot of work related to refurbishment, expansion upgrades to the existing plant, 5 kilometers of new piping, 3 new water pumping stations, 2 main contracts for design, so schematic design and detail design. And the project is going to be broken down into 22 different construction contracts and subcontracts. So one of the large tasks kind of in the beginning, because the client in this case is not very familiarized with VDC, and the client is kind of a one-time customer in the sense that, well, they have this obligation to do this project, but they normally don't do construction projects. So we spent some time in the beginning to actually look at what do the client need. So of course we have the traditional ones within budget, time, cost, so forth, quality. But what do we actually want to achieve with the project? So breaking it down to actually making the project or the finished result usable for the client and those operating the plant, operability and sustainability. So in Norway we have quite a few regulations towards sustainability, but also we kind of need to up the game a bit. So in this particular case we were able to align with the client and concretize and define the different goals for the project. So what may be different from other projects is that we have actually defined, concretized, and put a number on the different measures that we want to take within the usable, operable, and sustainable scale in the project. Kind of digging down towards design and how we go about our internal works. So we have 36 different engineering disciplines in this project. Approximately 250 people are involved from our company within design. The project startup and initiation was during COVID-19 restrictions. And kind of 2 things that are important at this time, I think, is the digitization of the delivery plan and project execution plan. And we have just entered a new project phase as well. So we're going from kind of the preliminary design more to construction. And what we look at is how to kind of unify the entire organization on our part within this with delivery management. So a very important step is kind of to get the culture right. And in order to do that, we have built upon the VDC framework, but also looked at how does the VDC framework support the different phases throughout the project, and actually connected that to the maturity and the development of the design as well. And one important step, which I think is quite unique actually, and this is kind of looking down into really minute details. So we have a overall schedule, master kind of main schedule for information deliveries to the client and to the project itself. But internally, we have developed a tool to break that down even further into kind of our own work packages and how we manage information exchange, information delivery, and interfaces between disciplines internally at our part. So what we're able to do then is, of course, have an overview over everything published, everything kind of sent out from our company. But also internally, what is the status and how is things actually going on. This particular kind of delivery management methodology and process includes also our own quality assurance and quality control processes. We get real-time metrics from both usage and kind of how things are going on in the project. We are able to enforce the document naming structure and kind of information structures in the project and then naming conventions. And it's aligned with the breakdown structure both from the client and for the different contracts and contractors that are going to be involved. So that means that nobody has to kind of create their own or follow manual procedures on naming convention, breakdown structures, information requirements, and so forth, but everything is given kind of by this solution. And of course, in order to make the most efficient plans, it is important to do collaboration and coordination between the different disciplines. We mostly use visual kind of aids and visual tools for planning. So this is an example of a planning session where multiple disciplines are involved in order to coordinate design, coordinate interfaces, and what deliveries are happening at what time. Below on the left is actually kind of the cycle that every delivery goes through when it comes to coordination sessions, quality assurance, quality control, and finally publishing of information deliverment. And this is an example of a typical design coordination meeting where you are speaking about actual kind of engineering tasks and engineering, not necessarily conflicts, but engineering issues. And since this project started through COVID-19 restrictions, we had to kind of build everything around being able to do all collaboration and coordination digitally. So all models in the project and every discipline of the 35 disciplines are actually model-based, including fire protection and sound, building physics, and so forth are included into models as well. We have one kind of common data environment for looking into those models and coordinate the work. These models are typically automatically updated every night in order to ensure that nobody's looking at kind of old data, old metrics, a wrong set of information. And it's possible to break down and kind of filter out the parts of the project that are discussed within the meeting. So every object in the BIM models contain information on what kind of work package they're related to, what contract they're related to. There's also an integration directly integration between the BIM and the bill of quantities and contract documents that are being made. So in order to kind of do this, we've done quite a bit of work related to our own internal processes. So normally the client wouldn't kind of be interested and look into this, but it kind of shows how we have broken down into the different phases. So this is just one example of one phase, but the different tasks that needs to happen in order to actually deliver the information deliverable in the end. And kind of look at a few metrics. So the nice thing about digitizing the entire delivery plan is, of course, that you will get metrics from what you do. And we've already seen very good benefits from having this information available to the project. So this is information that is available to everybody in the project. And typically this slide kind of represents the number of tasks that are planned each week, how many we do, how many we don't. And also an overview showing kind of in the left down corner what is due this week. And on the right bottom is kind of the bad ones, the ones that we normally wouldn't kind of present and show to anybody. And it's important to kind of note that in this project, all main information deliverables has been absolutely on schedule. So there's nothing behind schedule in this project. But our own internal kind of deliveries, we want to coordinate those and be upfront the actual deliveries to the client. And what I'm giving you sort of a glance into is how we try to coordinate those efforts and how we actually work internally in our company. So the bottom right is the ones that should have been done but aren't. And this also reflects in kind of this graph, which I would propose doesn't look very good. The kind of important thing, as I mentioned, is that no kind of big deliveries or main schedule is affected by this, but this gives us a detailed opportunity to actually look at how do we coordinate our own disciplines and how do we coordinate that work. So what we do see is that we have lots of variability in performance, and I think it's important to actually show this and to have one important point, and that is I don't know if everybody's kind of have this insight into their own operation. Because this makes us able to actually understand what we can change, what we can do different. And although the kind of final product aren't that affected by kind of these types of graphs, we now get a very detailed insight into how the collaboration and how things are going internally in our company. And the final thing that is good to know is that the digitalization of the delivery plan itself on kind of the work package level also makes it possible to us to get insights that we normally wouldn't have, and that is who are actually involved, who utilizes the processes that we have set up, who delivers, what disciplines are the ones maybe struggling or the best disciplines. And this makes it very easy to kind of pinpoint where we need to address improvements. And also it shows where we are quite good. So this screen actually shows how many kind of people are in the actual tool following up their deliveries, materializing and using kind of the tools available to them. And what we tend to see is that people who are the ones complaining, saying that it's difficult to know what to deliver when and whatever, are the ones kind of not involved in this, which makes it much easier to manage the entire workflow. So this was kind of a sort of deep deep look into the internals. So normally that wouldn't be something to show off, but I think it's important to know that we strive to do better within our own organization as well. And one important part is actually leveraging technology and by digitizing the delivery execution plan. The automation of metrics does allow for real-time insights on performance in this project, and we can decide where to take measures and how to move forward based on real metrics and not only guessing. But as I think many of the examples show here today as well, it's important to mention kind of the significance of what effort you need to put down to really get the results from both technology, but also people and the utilization of VDC. So it's very important that you have leaders and managers who are involved and actually want to drive people to get better at their work. So yeah, that's it.